should the Fresno City Council approve Mayor Jerry Dyer's plan to make it easier to convert vacant buildings into housing? Almost 2/3 said yes, it's a great idea because we need more housing that people can actually afford. And then about a third said no, strips the city council of its watchdog power on planning issues. Great weather, heat up, triple digits looks like coming our way for this weekend with a heat advisory Friday from 11 a.m. to about 7 p.m. and then slightly cooling off into early next week. And then with that, we're going to jump into, should Fresno make it easier to convert office buildings into housing? There's a great article. We just showed you the poll. But the article that backs that up, great article. Take a look at that. With that, we're going to jump into some of our national stuff. Israeli politicians' criticism of Gaza war, toll on Palestinians sparks outcry. Israeli center-left opposition party leader Yair Golan focuses on the plight of the Palestinians, sparks an outcry in Israel. Great article. Take a look at that. For those of you that are interested in foreign affairs and what we do with our federal tax dollars, or some of it, I should say, take a look at that article about Gaza and Israel. Far-right Israelis confront Palestinians. Other Israelis in chaotic Jerusalem march. Far-right Israeli marchers assaulted Palestinians, left-wing Israelis, and journalists during the Jerusalem's flag march. Police made no arrest. You know what's interesting? A lot of journalists are not allowed into Gaza, haven't been allowed into Gaza unless they're part of the Israeli Defense Forces, which means that Israel does not want the rest of the world to see what's happening there. Of course, thanks to TikTok and other online social media, a lot of that information is getting out and has gotten out. One of the reasons there's the outcry throughout the country, throughout the world.
Good evening to our unfiltered audience. This is Mike Carbasi, your council president, with our exclusive city council update just for you. We don't have a council meeting this week, but next Monday we do the biggest thing every year. We work on our budget. So we'll have budget hearings. We meet with every department, ask tough questions. I'll be asking a lot of questions about our parks, our roads, and public safety. My biggest priorities, especially public safety. Please do speak up. Call 621-8000. Ask for your council member. Ask for the emails. Let them know what your priorities are so we can make sure we're building a budget that reflects your values. We did have a council meeting come up last Thursday. Nothing this Thursday, but last Thursday, a controversial discussion on converting vacant land zoned for office to residential, also existing offices to residential. One of the measures we're doing to make Fresno easier to build housing, building industry associations in favor of what's called the text amendment. I'm opposed because I want to make sure when it comes to vacant land and we're rezoning it, that we do have public say, and it's not something that's done by an unelected official like a planning director. This is not to criticize anybody in particular. This is just about the process. I really believe the public should be included. The good news is the measure presented has a carve out. So if you're within 500 feet of a school, it's a sensitive use, you'd have to go through the regular rezone process. And I think a lot of the speakers that came and spoke at the council meeting, and there were almost 20 of them, they were concerned about that issue. So hopefully that'll be resolved. But like Reagan said, trust but verify. So we'll have to see what happens with the text amendment the next council meeting. So that's the biggest thing happening at City Hall. Back to you, Darius.
Tell us about what does the PAC do, Parent Advisory Council? Kind of tell us about your role. What does PAC do? What is your involvement with Fresno Unified? And then kind of, there's a few things you wanted to share with the audience, but kind of let's start with some of your background and experiences. And what is a PAC?
Okay, so I'm a parent of a freshman at Edison, and 3 years ago, I went ahead and threw my name in the hat for school site council. That's where all this begins for me. Because like most people, I complained, I listen to the news all day long, and I'm a big believer of you can complain about it on Facebook or just shut up and do something, go and try. So for the last 3 years, I've been learning a lot about how the school system works from the inside. My first year, though, on school site council, I got nominated from the council to be a PAC member, which is Parental Advisory Committee, and it's one member per school across the district. So roughly 109 schools, 109 members, and then you get a bunch of representatives from Fresno Unified as well. And our main focus is supposed to be about the budget. We get multiple meetings, about 4 or 5 a year, where we go through the process of learning about new programs coming in, basically budget, really boring, mind-numbingly boring budget stuff. And then we sign off at the end of the year, which this Thursday we're doing our final PAC meeting. And the reality of it is it's a dog and pony show. I've had talks about what would happen if we did not sign off on this year's budget, because I have some big concerns about what's coming. And it would just go back to the Fresno Unified Trustee Board, and they would sign off on it, and it's done. So it's a little bit of the same old we've been hearing for a long time of we want parents' involvement, but we don't actually care about what you do. We just act like we care that you're there. I know that Trustee Thomas has been obviously in the news a lot lately. And my interest in her goes back 3 years ago, and it involves a transportation issue with Computech when my son was going there. It was daily, 400 students roughly, it's half the school body, was showing up between 20 and 40 minutes late every single day. And we went late into the second semester. And the school site council, we talked about what do we do. We sent an email out to all the trustees and Bob Nelson and Misty Herr, and silence for 12 days. So being an old radio guy, I hit up a buddy of mine, and I got on KMJ, and I made some comments about what was going on, and suddenly I was the belle of the ball. 3 weeks later, the school bus system gets solved. It was all about a CBA thing with the transportation side. But day 2, that Tuesday, Keisha Thomas is out there jumping around on video for social media, talking about how great it is that not one student was late to school today, and good hard work on her part. It was that moment I'm like, I don't like you, and I know who you are now. So I've been following all these trustees because that's just how I'm wired. I'm very into the local politics, and I dig and I talk to people. Some of the things that I've been learning about Keisha Thomas. Now, we do know she's attempting to run for city council. No way she's going to beat Arambula, which means she'll probably just land back on the school board because incumbents just don't get beat. As we've been seeing, the school board has survived for a very long time at its current setting. But some of the concerns, and I know I've brought this up with a lot of people like you, Darius, that first off, she apparently does not live in district, which is, on the bigger scale of things, I don't care. I'd rather be mad at her for not doing her job, for wasting money, for having an 8-9 figure settlement potentially coming against the school because of the Don Eric's thing. But if we're going to talk about the rules, we can look back to 2012 when Tony Vang got.
I'm sorry, Chris. Let me interrupt you for a second. You said that Keisha Thomas does not live in the district, in the area that she's representing. Is that what...
Yeah, from what I understand, she lives at the southern end of the Bullard area. So she does not, her primary residence is not in the Edison region. She does own a couple homes that I believe her children are a part of, but they're not her primary. So that alone would mean that she is ineligible to run for the spot. And that's where I referenced the Tony Vang thing. A recall was pushed on him to get him out. He went ahead and retired as opposed to going through with the recall push that was happening. But there is precedent set for action to go against a trustee who's not following that specific rule.
Got it.
So,
okay, so you believe that Trustee Thomas does not live in the Edison area, and she lives in the southern tip of you said Bullard region. Is that what you said?
Southern side of it, yeah. Side of it. So she well enough across the border from Bullard to Edison.
Got it. Bullard and Edison are not adjoining, right? There's
I think on the west side.
Okay. Got it.
So when you get on the west side of 99, I believe, is where they actually touch.
Got it. Okay.
My opinion is this. I gave it to Michael Hansen when he was superintendent because he tried a lot of different things to get this jump started. He had the district invest heavily with the state program, in which extra money came to high schools if they adopted certain curriculum. He tried some other things, joining the Council of Great Urban Schools. I could go on and on this. My advice at the time was, this is a Fresno problem. You need to come up with a Fresno solution. And I think we need a superintendent that gets involved, is highly involved. I believe that teachers are unique. We have some great teachers, and they do things not according to how it's supposed to be done. But they have charisma. They love their students. They get kids excited about education. That should be the number one job of every teacher in Fresno Unified, getting students excited about education. And again, Fresno needs to come up with its own plan. Yes, you can rely on experts for some ideas and those kinds of things, but Fresno really needs to formulate its own approach to this, and it needs to stick with that approach for some time. You can't have an instant turnaround. There's no silver bullet for this. It takes a lot of hard work. And the number two thing is, Fresno Unified finally has to live up to his motto that it's all about the kids. For decades, it's been all about preserving the bureaucracy. It's been all about the administrators and their pay and those kinds of things. And mostly it's been about not rocking the boat. Yeah, they'll punish someone lower down the line. They'll fire them. But administrators, we never see them touched. If they fail at their job, they may get promoted from assistant superintendent to deputy superintendent. If they fail as a principal, do they go back to the classroom? No, they get promoted downtown. Fresno Unified has been operated like a country club forever, and its latest selection process showed us that nothing has changed at all. And here you have Misty Her. You want a change agent? You can't promote someone that's been in the muck and the mire. The tentacles are pulling Misty Her back every day. How many depositions is she going to have to be involved in? How can her focus be entirely on education? The trustees, the majority, 6 of them, didn't care. They want to do the political thing. They want to just march forward. But at this point, I don't think Fresno is going to take it anymore. And finally, Darius, it seems like the people that want to make Fresno Unified better for students and to help families, many of them have come from the Fresno region or the Hoover region. They're immediately dismissed as white, elitist, or racist, because they simply care about their schools. It's ridiculous. Some of the remarks by the viewers, the people that say them are so ignorant, they don't know what dumbasses they are. To quote Randy Newman, they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, but that won't stop them from talking. So if there's going to be a revolution in Fresno Unified, it has to be led by the people who live south of Shaw. I've said this many times. These students are waiting for those parents and those families south of Shaw to say, this isn't acceptable anymore, instead of running to pizza parties that the district throws for parents. It's ridiculous. The revolution has to be from people living south of Shaw.